Hey everyone, today's video is going to be a review on two Radiessence products that I was sent for review. Just before I get started, obviously they were sent for review, but I would not show you guys anything that I didn't like. I really like these products and I wanted to share them with you guys, so let's get started. The first product that I want to show you is the Radiessence bronzer. Now this is actually called the Pressed Powder Compact, that's what it says on the outside, but it is a pressed bronze powder. It comes in light tan and dark tan. I have mine in light tan. The colour of it, to me, when I first got it, I was like, this is a really strange colour. It has like an kind of like an ochre-y kind of colour to it, if that makes sense, and I was like, this is not going to work for me, my skin is way too light, but I put it on and it is absolutely amazing. This actually has an SPF in it, which is a bit funny. It's SPF 12, but I especially like it because it just looks so natural. I am very light, but I have it on today. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it looks amazing. There's a swatch of it right there. It's a really nice bronze colour. Not any shimmer to it in my opinion. It might have an ever so slight sheen to it, but I wouldn't say shimmery. It doesn't jump out at you once it's on the face. It just blends in absolutely flawlessly. I love it. This colour in particular is not dark enough to use as a contour powder, so do keep that in mind. It's more of a bronzer, like a solid bronzer. This was actually rated one of the top bronzers a couple years back by a magazine, so that is good to know, and I would definitely agree with it. Out of all of the bronzers that I've tried, this is definitely my favourite, because I am so light. Finding a bronzer that matches my skin and doesn't look really wrong on me or looks too orange or too muddy is very hard, but I feel like this is probably the one bronzer that I found that I can actually wear, so that's good. It retails at just under $40, but you do get a fair amount of product in here. You get 11.5 grams. And when you think about it, a bronzer will last you quite a while, but I mean, it's completely up to you guys, but for me this is totally worth it. If I ever ran out of this, I think I would repurchase it because I need a bronzer because I am very pale, but I feel like this will work for me because of my skin tone personally when I'm at my lightest and when I'm at my darkest. I think this will work for me regardless, so I really do recommend this powder to you guys. One thing that I want to mention is that you can actually buy a refill pan for this. So to get it like this with the compact and the pan in it is $39.90 like I was saying, but you can also get it for $24.90 for just the pan. So I mean, if you had a Z palette or something like that, like a magnetic palette, you could probably just buy the pan, whack a magnet on the bottom, and then Bob's your uncle. Alright, so now for the main part of the review, I'm going to be talking about the Radiessence Invisible Finish Foundation. This product has an SPF, which is great, especially if you live in New Zealand. It has a really strong SPF, which is 30, which makes me wonder whether or not it will be good for photography. I personally haven't had any issues with it, so it's a thing to be aware of. This comes in 4 different shades. I am the lightest shade, obviously. I'm in the shade Light. Looks like this. It's a cream foundation. The reason that I wanted to show you guys a demo, which is coming up next, is because I was having some difficulty when I first got it to make it work with my skin and get the right kind of coverage balance and, you know, not use too much product. So I'm just going to show you the way that I apply it pretty much from start to finish, like foundation, concealer, powder, just because honestly, personally, I was really struggling with this. And I want to show you guys a before and after. Alright, so I'm just going to do a really quick kind of speed up demo of the Invisible Finish Foundation. So mine just looks like this because it's in the colour Light. I apply this with the Beauty Blender. This is, I don't know if it's exactly called the Beauty Blender, but it's basically a beauty blending sponge from Radiessence. I normally just run to the bathroom and put it in some water, sort of squeezing it. So once I've kind of just concealed my under eyes a little bit, I take the kind of the big bottom part, sort of bounce it in until I get a little bit of product on there, and then I just start bouncing it across my skin. I just do this all the way over. I'm not applying very much product at all. I feel like this foundation, when it's applied like this, will be good for oily skin or dry skin, because I feel like if you're kind of brushing it on, it can kind of go, with any foundation, can kind of like be too much, but this is such a light coverage of product. I feel like it just looks so good. So if you kind of need to get in around your eyebrows and stuff, you can kind of use the pointed part. It tends to just be what I use for each area. So I really don't do very much at all. That's pretty much it for my face. I hope you guys can see a little bit of a difference. It is quite subtle, but it does make a big difference. Like, everything's just a lot more even. You can still see my blemishes through, but I do have quite severe blemishes. So now I'm going to take the little brush that I got with it. I don't know if this comes with the full size product or if it comes with a sample, but you can just use a normal brush or you can even use a blender, but I'm just going to pick up a little bit more of the product and use that as a concealer. So whenever I'm actually wearing this product, I will always use it as a concealer. So just kind of add a little bit of an extra layer wherever I might need that extra coverage, rather than going and grabbing another product, which is really convenient if you're kind of new to makeup and don't have, you know, like a billion different products. Because I have kind of normal skin and I want this to last all day, I do like to set it. One thing that I would recommend with this foundation, because it's quite, I wouldn't say sticky, but it is a cream, so it's quite creamy and dewy on the skin. I wouldn't recommend using a pressed powder because I don't feel like they actually sink in. I think a loose powder is so much better. Use whichever one you like. I just feel like it puts a finishing touch. I know you can get some absolutely amazing ones from the drugstore, like Rimmel has some really good ones. I mean, you don't need to go high end with powder, but whatever you guys would like to use would be great. I just really find that I have a much better looking kind of finish when I use a powder. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because when I first got this foundation, the real problem that I was having was the applications. That's why I'm kind of going really in depth with how I apply it. So now you guys can see it looks absolutely beautiful and radiant on the skin. You know, it looks very, very natural looking. So as you guys saw, I did use a beauty blender, and this one is, as I mentioned, a Radiessence one. It's probably called the blending sponge, but I really, really love this. I have actually tried the one from Manicare, and the sponge itself is not good quality. I mean, I found personally that it didn't really feel that great. This one is a really, really good quality sponge. I do like it. The fact that it's black means that it looks like it's dirty when it's not. It's just kind of stained. To clean these, all I do is rinse them under cold water and just use a little bit of shampoo or baby shampoo. That's what I use to clean my brushes with. So I do the same thing with my sponge, and it cleans out all the product and keeps it smelling fresh, which is always a good thing. The best thing about this sponge is that it retails at $10. Now, the actual beauty blender itself retails at, I believe, like 25 American, which is ridiculous. So this is $10 New Zealand, which is really, really great for a sponge. Alright, so moving back to the foundation itself, let's really quickly talk about the packaging. It's just a really simple kind of ovular packaging. Open it up and you've got the foundation and a mirror. Flip up and you've got the little sponge. The sponge is nice quality, but I do prefer the beauty blender over the little sponge. Keeping the review really short and sweet on this product, I think it is great. The formula is really creamy. It can be used as a foundation and a concealer. I've used them separately, like foundation with different concealer, and use a different foundation and use this as concealer, and it works great both ways. So creamy, really nice coverage. I can say you could, depending on how you apply it, get anything from light to full coverage. As I said, I would recommend using a loose powder because I feel as though it doesn't really set with the pressed powder. And I mean, if you had dry skin you wouldn't need to set it obviously, but with my kind of medium skin I really do need to set the product. The wear on this for me ranges from anywhere between 6 to 8 hours depending on what I'm doing, if it's hot, if it's cold, am I running around, am I sweating, kind of, you know, dependent. But I would say it's, you know, a relatively good coverage. It's not extremely long wearing, but works for me, you know. Can get a good day at work out, perfect. My skin ends up looking pretty much as good as it did in the morning, which for me is great. I definitely would recommend this to you guys, especially if you're going to a special event, but as I said, do keep in mind it does have quite a high SPF level. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to check down below for the Radiessence website. Also, if you have any more questions about the product, please leave them down below and I will try to answer them for you guys. So don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will see you all next time. Bye!